Hello, my name is Zach.
I'm Madeline.
We are the Wag fam or Wagner family. We're the Wagner family. Today we're going to be talking about the home birth. Madeline was the rock star. Tell us a little bit about your credentials, Madeline.
So I am a certified nurse midwife, which is a nurse practitioner that gets to deliver babies.
I'm a second year family medicine resident. So I've graduated medical school and I'm in my second year of training with the Air Force. That's what happens when you try and make YouTube with a baby. She has red hair. I'm so proud.
So basically the birth started in the morning. I woke up and I was really disappointed that I wasn't in labor again. I had been hoping I would go into labor like 2 weeks earlier, but that didn't happen. You can't force yourself into labor, it turns out.
We tried.
We tried?
She tried. What did you try?
I tried everything but castor oil. I would never do castor oil. But yeah, I mean, I tried walking, I tried dates, I tried red raspberry leaf tea,
Pineapple,
pumping, sex. Anyway, so I woke up that morning and I was super disappointed I wasn't in labor again. And then I started having like mild contractions, and right away they were already like 5 minutes apart, but they were so mild. I mean, they were literally just felt like period cramps. And then I texted my midwife just to give her a heads up, and I texted Zach's sister, who's also a midwife. And then, but I like told them like they're really mild. And then I lost some of my mucus plugs, so then I was like hopeful, like, oh, okay, maybe this is the real thing. And I started getting like really excited, and then all of a sudden everyone just like showed up at the house, and I was like, wait, I'm not in labor yet, guys. And so I'm a very private laborer, so like even though there were people here, whenever I'd have a contraction, I would go to another room and I'd like be completely by myself.
We'd walk into a dark closet.
Yeah.
Basically.
And so then I had told Zach to take the girls to gymnastics because the girls were kind of annoying me and I just wanted to be left alone. So then by the time Zach comes back, I'm like in full-blown labor. It's noon now. And I think at that point I was still only 5 centimeters, but I was like having really strong contractions. I even started like tearing up during them. And I have Zach do this thing called a rebozo, which is a big cloth that goes around your whole belly and provides counter pressure. And so he was holding that around my belly, and I was walking, and every time I'd have a contraction, I went into the closet because it's dark and away from everyone. And like I said, I kind of just like to be left alone when I'm laboring. And I did this with both of my labors with Juniper, the exact same thing, just walking back and forth with the rebozo, being left alone. And then Brittany was there. She was really helping me. And then I started vocalizing, which is, as a midwife, you know, when the laboring mom starts vocalizing, that means it's like getting serious, and she's in very active labor. So I was vocalizing, and I was progressing just fine, but I think in my mind I'd kind of hoped my labor would go faster, and I kind of just wanted her to come out. So my water broke, and then I got in the tub, and then she checked me, and I think I was still only 7 centimeters. But at that point, I was just like starting to go into my own zone. I wasn't really noticing anyone around me. I was just dealing with the contractions one at a time. And being in the tub, by the way, is so nice. Like as soon as you get in the tub, your whole body relaxes. Your belly feels better. You kind of have the buoyancy effect. So there's not as much gravity like weighing down on your belly. It was just really nice. And I definitely could not do a natural labor if I did not have a water birth available because it was so nice. But then, so I kept having contractions. My daughters were there. Emily was really helping, pushing on my back. And I was kind of zoned out, not noticing anyone. At some point, people were listening to my belly. You listen, you know, like every 15 minutes. They're listening to the baby's heart rate. Someone was pushing on my back at one point. Another person was fanning me. Another person was taking turns cooling off the washcloth, and then there was one point where her heart rate started to go down, and the last time they had checked me I was 7 centimeters, so it was kind of scary. You know, as a midwife, when you hear the heart rate go down, you kind of think that the cord is compressed, and so my midwife told me to switch positions, but then she went ahead and checked me and realized that I was 9 centimeters, so then it actually becomes not as much of an emergency because it just means that her head is getting squeezed towards the end. It means she's about to be born, and then her heart rate went back up and it never went down again, so it was just an early deceleration, which is okay. And then when she told me I was 9 centimeters, I was like, oh, this is all in my head because I was totally just like zoned out. I was like, oh, this is my 3rd baby. I bet I could start pushing. So I just tried pushing a little bit during the contraction, and right away I could feel her head move, and it felt so good. And I was just like so happy at that point because now all of a sudden the contractions didn't hurt anymore. Like I could push with them and it felt really good. And so then it felt good, but it also hurt. Like it was an intense feeling. It's hard to describe, but they were way better than the contractions before where you just kind of have to like deal with them. So then I pushed probably about 5 minutes, and all of a sudden I could feel her head come under my pubic bone, which is the point, when you're kind of pushing before and the pubic bone is here and her head is like this, you're kind of like pushing 2 steps forward, 1 step back, 2 steps forward, so it's like a different feeling. But once the head comes under that pubic bone, the head is there and it does not go anywhere. And I was like, okay, and people were kind of like relaxed in the room, and all of a sudden I'm like, she's coming. And then everyone gathered around the tub and they're like, oh, and I felt and I could feel like this much of her head, and I was like kind of surprised. I'm like, whoa, she's here already. And then I also thought, oh yay, she's here. But then at that point, I just tried my best to just let her crown, and I really didn't want to tear. And the best way to prevent tearing is to just let the baby's head crown there for a long time. So then I just pushed, I think, 1 more time, kind of slowly to get her head all the way out. And then 1 more time slowly to get her anterior shoulder out. And then after that, my midwife was like, she's all yours. And then I just grabbed her out of the water and pulled her up, and I was like in shock. And the first thing I did was I opened my eyes and I looked around, and I'm like, oh, there's a lot of people here. I think we counted, there's 10 people there at the home birth. There was a lot. So, but it didn't bother me because I was just doing my own thing. Like my eyes were closed the whole time. It was like I was in a different world. Yeah, I don't know. What was it like for you?
I mean, it's just amazing to watch Madeline labor, I guess, and deliver the baby basically on her own. Like she knows what she's doing, and we're all just sort of standing around the birth tub, and I didn't really know she was like, pushing or that she was crowning. She was just sort of quiet in the center, and then all of a sudden she like says something like,
I said, she's coming,
she's
and then
coming, and
everyone's
everyone's
like,
like, I think I like drop kicked my mother-in-law out of the way. Okay, maybe I didn't do that, but I, pushed my way through, get a little closer so I could be with her. And then, yeah, she just pulled Jade right out and onto her chest, and it was awesome.
It's funny that no one even realized I was pushing. Because usually when a woman's pushing, like, you can hear them. They're like, their contractions beforehand are like very like, oh, and then they start pushing, they're like, oh, like you can tell they're pushing, and it's like really exciting as a midwife to hear that. But I was just so different. I mean, with Juniper's birth, I yelled, rightfully so. It hurts a lot, and a lot of women yell during birth because it helps you get rid of that energy, that pain. But with this one, it just felt better just to be quiet. I was very just in my own world. So let us know in the comments any questions you have about home birth or birth in general, and we'll try to answer them in our next video.